What's up, Grizzlies fans? Welcome into another game day update. This is the Summer League. It is the last game of the Summer League in Vegas, Mike. So I'm sad that this is the last time we're going to be chatting for a while. But the Memphis Grizzlies are taking on the LA Clippers tonight. But before we get into tonight's game, let's do a quick rewind because the guys came away with the W last night. So let's talk about last night's game. Mike, what did you like from the team?
I mean, I just like the fact that this team continues to build on each performance. I mean, we've seen them now play, 7, 8 Summer League games now. And it seems like each time they play, they come out and make adjustments and they adjust and they get better. Ziaire, his game stood out because he's able to run the floor, fill passing lanes, and do a lot of things with his athleticism. You're seeing other guys step up. Sean Merrill's hitting shots. Even Santi Aldama had his best game of the summer week. And that's a big thing when you talk about guys that are taking advantage of these opportunities to improve. So it's a little bit of everything for me. What about for you?
Yeah, let's talk about some of those guys, because for me, last night was about Santi Aldama. The first 3 games, I think he had 1 field goal each. And to be fair, he was coming from Spain. He had only been in the US for like a week. So it looks like he's gotten his feet under him. And this game was the game that I knew that he probably needed and that I knew that he could have. He ended with 13 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. So he was kind of doing a little bit of everything. He had some great passes. I know you saw that like no look left-handed pass. And then obviously like the double-double. It's his first double-double, the first time getting double-digit scoring. So it was just nice to see him come out and have a game that, you know, a guy like that needs to kind of build his confidence going into the last game of the Summer League.
Oh, no question about it. And when you talk about going into the last game of the Summer League, obviously they wrap up their play tonight, actually. The last game, I believe, on the schedule for tonight against the Los Angeles Clippers. And we'll talk about that in a second. But, you know, when you look at how far this team came, they were 2-1 in Salt Lake City 2 weeks ago during that week. And now they're 2-2 in Las Vegas with a chance to put a winning record. That does mean something. It's about development, but at the end of the day, you want to win games and build on those victories. So it was a good way to see Santi really find his way. We've seen, like I said before, Ziaire find his way as well, too. And then some of the other guys in the middle. Pons had another active, explosive type opportunity last night as well. So all of these guys are doing some great things. And, you know, we caught up, obviously, with Ziaire after the game last night. And he talked about when the shots aren't falling, he's able to do other things to fill up the box score.
You can't control every jumper, man. So for me, I just try to be an impact as much as possible. You know, after the game, Coach Jenkins told me he wants me to crash more. So that was one thing on my mind, you know, coming into the game is I got to crash harder. I got to, you know, be aggressive, want the ball. And, you know, I'm just trying to just be an impact, you know, whether it's offensively or defensively. You know, I'm all about winning. You know, I'm a super competitive person. So I'm just willing to do whatever it takes to put our team in the best position.
And Mike Ziaire did make an impact on the offense and defensive end. He ended that with 9 rebounds, though he went 0 for 6 from the 3. So it's good to see him have that relationship with Coach Jenkins on how he can continue to make that impact. That's a quote from him. I love that word, impact. A couple other guys had big nights last night. Olivier Sarr showed up big. Shaq Buchanan, they were the leading scorers. They both had 15 points. Sam Merrill, had 12 points. McDermott had 10. And then Ben Moore, he had almost a double-double. He had 9 points and 10 rebounds. So again, the offense and defense, I like how this coaching staff is getting the guys hyped and, you know, ready on the offensive and defensive end. We're seeing a lot of guys with, you know, like the want to rebound, because that's something that, again, you cannot teach. And we've talked about that so many times about the rebounding is something that comes from in here.
It's effort. It's hunger. It's also next man up. I mean, we've seen this roster sort of go in flux because, you know, our upperclassmen, if you will, and Xavier Tillman, Desmond Bain, Killian Tilly, those guys aren't playing right now. They've already graduated from Summer League in midweek. So now these other guys on the back end of your roster are getting the chance to put some footage out there. So whether that's helping for the Memphis Hustle down the line or other opportunities throughout the league or maybe even overseas, these are important minutes, especially coming up in tonight's finale.
All right, so let's talk about tonight's finale then, because these are the guys who are going to have to step up in this last game against the Clippers. Now, before we get into the game, the Clippers, it feels like so fitting that we're playing them tonight, Mike, because there was reportedly a trade between these two teams that happened late last night.
Yeah, I mean, reportedly, look, no one is more accurate in this league than Adrian Wojnarowski. So we could say reported all we want. That deal is in the works and it's about to get finalized. When you talk about what the Grizzlies are being able to bring in, it's a 3-for-1 kind of trade. So it does It's going to require some roster adjustments, some roster matrix. It puts the Grizzlies over in terms of how many actual NBA contracts they can have. But during the offseason, Kelcey, one thing to keep in mind for Grizz fans, you can have a roster of up to 20 players during the offseason. Once training camp ends and preseason is over, you have to cut that down to 15 NBA contracts plus your two-ways. So there's some calculus that has to go in the works here. So look for the Grizzlies to continue to make some moves to make sure that they show up that roster. But when you talk about Rondo, when you talk about Pat Beverly, and then a Daniel Oturu, a guy that's a project, you have some pieces that you can sort of figure out what you want to do with. So I'm looking forward to see where this goes. Eric Bledsoe goes reportedly to the Clippers in this deal. The Grizzlies get those three guys for right now. What do you think about that deal?
Well, it's funny that you bring up those three guys because Daniel Oturu has been playing so well for this team in the summer league. He's been having a couple close double-doubles. He's a big rebounding guy, a decent scorer. And so I don't know if he'll play tonight versus the Grizzlies. So they could catch a break there. He could not, I'm not sure. But this Clippers team, like in the last game, he had 12 points, 8 rebounds, and he had 7 fouls. So it is going to be kind of an interesting mix up of this. I want to say 7 assists, and I looked down and I was like, oh, those are fouls, Kels. But the Clippers, they're 1-3 in Vegas. They're a pretty poor shooting team when it comes to percentages. I think under 40 and then under 25 from beyond the three. So the Grizzlies, they talk about, how poor shooting they had in their last game. And Sean McDermott addressed it after the game, talking about how, shots don't always fall, but you do have to do other things in order to, continue to get that W. So listen to what he had to say after the game and talking about tonight's game against the Clippers.
Yeah, for sure. I think we had multiple possessions where we had 6, 7, 8 passes, multiple drives touching the paint. Like you said, we didn't hit a ton of shots tonight, but I think that'll carry on and it'll be great moving forward.
All right, Kelcey. So it's been a great run in August so far for the Grizzlies. We've seen a lot of things we were enthusiastic about seeing. We've seen some areas where the team is going to continue to improve. One thing we do know for sure, the development never ends for the Memphis Grizzlies. They're a month away from starting training camp, believe it or not. So NBA training camp starts in a month, late September. I'm looking forward to that. But before we get to that, we got one more last opportunity, and that's tonight's game to wrap up the Vegas Summer League. Where can they catch all the action?
Yes, you can catch it on NBA TV. The tip-off is at 8 p.m. Central Time. This is a game that you're not going to want to miss because, like you said, neither of these teams move forward. It's kind of a no pressure type of game. So it's going to be fun. The guys are going to show out. It's the last game, like you said, that the Grizzlies are going to have before, I guess, preseason starts, right? So last time you get to watch the Grizzlies, it is going to be fun. They are taking on the LA Clippers. Again, tip-off is at 8 o'clock on NBA TV. I'm Kelcey, that's Mike, and we'll see you guys. Oh, I don't even know. In a while, but you can always catch all of our content on citymedia.com.